So I want to start off with a story. You may have heard this one from me before, but let me break it down for you. So let's call these two people Danny and Lisa. Well, Danny and Lisa met through at a church, right? They were both involved in their church and they became very good friends through this, crossing of paths, so to speak. And they would work on some projects together and they would help each other with different things. Now, Lisa had very strong interest in Danny. Danny, and I'm using a true story that I was involved in, but of course I'm protecting the identities of people. Um, Danny, we weren't sure what exactly was going on here, right? He would behave in ways that led us all. I said I believe with certainty, like, man, this man has feelings. But Lisa and other female friends in the circle was like, well, he's not saying anything. And supposedly there was a conversation about it. And he like kind of sidestepped it, didn't again put his stamp on any interest. So she had fair reason to believe this man didn't see her in that way. Okay. However, again, for me, I saw a man who, whenever she had stuff going on, he would be prepared to drop everything to assist her. He'd prepared to do all kinds of favors to her. And the energy he was coming with, to me, said, there has to be some feelings here. Now, as I tell you guys in my videos, I tell my friends, I tell my clients, I tell everybody, you got to talk to God, right? So I would tell Lisa, yo, pray about it. Pray about it, talk to God. Lisa would tell me she prayed and she's supposed to just leave it alone. And I always felt like, nah, Lisa, you're not going about this prayer thing the way that I'm trying to tell you to. But I'm not gonna sit here and fight and argue with anybody. Fast forward, Lisa kind of just leaves it alone, ends up meeting a guy, starts dating him. Long story short, gets engaged and gets married to the new guy. Okay. Of course, this is over the span of a couple of years, whatever the case may be. And lo and behold, at some point, and I'm sorry, but I can't remember if it was during I want to say it was after the official marriage. Danny expresses his feelings. Now, some of y'all are probably shaking your head like this is ridiculous. Why wouldn't this man say how he feels? And I'm not arguing any of that, right? And this is not to even defend a man hiding his feelings, so to speak. But it is to explain why this happens. And it's also to point out the fact that it happens a lot more than we realize. Because I think one of the things that women have been fed is this whole ideology of nothing can stop a man who loves you, or nothing can stop a man who wants to be with you. And that's just not completely true. Context matters. And there's a lot of various factors that lead to men hiding their feelings. It happens to women too, but we're going to focus on the men and things not being handled in the way that could have allowed for relationships to come about. Now, again, it's not to make it okay, it's just the reality of life and what's happening. And I want to take time or take this moment to explain to you the various different reasons why a man may be hiding his feelings for you. Okay. Now, one of the maybe the biggest, most common reason why a man would hide his feelings for you is because he's not confident he's ready for you. So I think there's a lot of women who just believe that if a man likes a woman in any kind of way, he's gonna jump all over that. Like, what would stop this man who actually likes you, who's actually into you, from wanting to be with you? And what a lot of women don't consider is the fact that when a man really is into you, because we have to understand, there's like, as in, okay, I enjoy her time, or I'm attracted to her, I don't mind spending time with her, right? But that's not the same as he's into you. He sees you as, oh my gosh, this could be the one. This could be my future wife. Like, that's a whole nother level. Okay. And when a man has walked into that level with a woman, emotionally, mentally, it basically exposes any insecurities in him. And it calls him to a higher standard because to him, I care about you too much or I respect you too much than to give you like half of me, as an example. Like to know I'm not giving you what you fully deserve. If we add God to the mix, like we add people who are spiritual, I would argue that magnifies that concern even more because now the standard isn't just what this woman deserves in that man's eyes, it's also what God requires of him. Okay. So, an example of a man not being ready. And again, I know for some of y'all, these examples might sound stupid as hell. Okay. Like, I get it. Right. But again, this is just what it is. So, one example might be, let's say, matter of fact, I'm thinking of a situation right now of a guy, let's say he's a professional player in one of the sports. I will not say which one. um, and he's met a woman that he feels like this could be it for real. But there's this part of him that still is attached to running these streets, so to speak. For those of you who may not know what running these streets mean, being available to entertain all these various options of women. Now, again, I know some of you will immediately say, but if he loves a woman, why would he have any desire for that? Listen, for some, it could simply be a matter of if that's what they've been told, like you need to be single during this time of your life. You don't need to be tied down, all these things. That input from other men, and shoot, even sometimes from other women, could be enough to put some fear or like second guessing in him of, okay, maybe I should just keep enjoying my options for right now. Because again, it's not just about not entertaining the options, it's about what I have to become or what I have to accept as responsibility and standards if I'm going to be with that kind of woman. So it's not just that. It's, am I truly ready emotionally? Am I ready financially? A lot of women may say, okay, well, we don't care about money like that. We just want to be with that man. Listen, some men are wired in a way that finances is extremely important to them. Whether it's wiring, whether it's societal input, whatever, right? I'm using the wrong word. There's a different word I want to use. But anyways, you get what I'm saying. Wherever it's coming from, there are some men who feel like if I'm not at the right place that I want to be, not where everyone else thinks, not what that woman thinks, where I have deemed acceptable for myself to be comfortable, I'm not willing or prepared to move forward in serious relationships. Okay. Again, it can go beyond that, but the point is he doesn't feel like he's ready. Now, it is easier for a man who is underdeveloped, not where he needs to be, so on and so forth, to attach himself to a woman that he may like and find great value in, but he is not truly in love with. All right. It is more comfortable for him there. But for the woman who, again, he holds to an even higher, it holds in higher regard. It's just different for a lot of guys. It's different for a lot of guys. And then also it's going to depend on the support system that he has. You know, what is he surrounded by? Because, for example, if he's surrounded by married couples, that would make it easier for many to then embrace it, even if they're not fully where they need to be. If he's surrounded by singles, that can sway him in the other direction. Okay. There's a lot of different factors at play. But the bottom line is, yes, believe it or not, a lot of men truly, like I know some of you may think when the man says, you're too good for me or I'm not ready yet, you just automatically think it's BS. He's just feeding you nonsense to make excuses. And I'm not saying that some of these men aren't doing just that, giving you excuses, but there are many, plenty, who genuinely feel that way. And that's why they're not even bringing out their feelings. They're not expressing it to you, because that's the whole thing here is why are they even hiding their feelings? Because they're like, yo, let me not push it there with her, even though you may already have developed feelings. Like I know of situations coming to mind right now where the woman has feelings. She's like, what are we doing here? And the man's trying to act like it's not like that. But it actually was like that. He ended up later on coming out and saying he is in love with her. It's crazy, but this is what happens a lot, more than people think. All right, so another big reason why a man is hiding his feelings for you is because he's afraid you just don't feel the same. All right, so again, there's a quote that I love to use that says, "It's easier to chase lust than it is to chase love." Now, some people hear me say that quote and I think they misunderstand what I'm trying to convey. What I'm saying to you is that, and I would argue, especially for men, and even more specifically to men, lust is all about what I'm trying to get, what that man is trying to receive, what that man is intrigued by, he's desiring, right? But it's really focused more on the getting to experience this woman, okay? And so with that, it's not as emotionally invested as it may be mentally invested. And with that, it is easier then to pursue and even chase it because the man is so locked into what he wants and what he will get from it. Love is about giving. Love is about pouring into that woman. Of course, yes, there is an aspect of receiving from her and getting to enjoy and experience her as well. But it's about what I want to give to her. I want to provide for her. I want to show her she can be safe around me. I want to protect her. I want to do all these things, right? And there's a greater emotional investment there. And so now with love, if there's any resistance from the woman, if there's any fear she will not love him back, anything like that, any kind of rejection, that is much more difficult to fight through than it is when it's lust involved, when it's infatuation involved. Okay? This is why you'll see situations where a woman can be dealing with a man and he's no good for her, toxic. And let's say they've been together before, they broke up, and he will chase her to the end of the world for the next however many years, nonstop trying to be with her. And you'll have some people believe, oh, he must love her. He must love you. No, no. He's just locked into, I need to get what I want from this woman. She provides certain benefits. I've got to have it. It's about him, which is why when he has you, he's still toxic. He's still unhealthy. You see what I'm saying? Not he's making a mistake here and there. No, he's consistently a problem, right? Lust is easy to chase. Love, not so much. So with that said, getting back to the original point here, that fear that you don't feel the same can paralyze a man, all right? And can really put him in a place where it's like, I don't know if it's time to say something yet. I'm not sure. Or maybe even that fear, then he like uses that to validate okay, maybe I need to get myself in a better position, or maybe I need to do this, or maybe I just need to wait for the right time. Like all these other things come into play, but it really boils down to he's just so afraid that you don't feel the same. And let's face it, rejection is scary for most people. For most, if not damn near everybody, right? But one thing I always want to remind people is that, rejection a lot of times is just God's redirection to something better. Okay. And sometimes something better isn't necessarily not that person. I know that sounds crazy. But again, I've seen situations on both sides where the person that they love rejects them in that moment for reasons they don't know and understand. And that rejection is time for them because it wasn't the right time for them to move forward. There was unresolved traumas. There was issues that need to be addressed. And if they take advantage of the time to view it as an opportunity for growth and to get into better alignment spiritually, there could be an opportunity that comes back around with that same person to where it can all work. But that's a whole different discussion. Bottom line is that fear that you don't feel the same, definitely a common reason why a man would hide his feelings for you. All right, so let's keep this going. And another uh, common and maybe I don't want to use the word unfortunate, but another reason why a man is hiding his feelings for you or would hide his feelings for you is because he doesn't want to lose you as a friend. Now, I stress the friend part because I know how touchy this can be. And I know for some women, the last thing they do want is to find out their male friend who they thought it was platonic with actually has feelings, right? But that's the exact reason why a lot of male friends who do have feelings are holding back those feelings and not expressing them and hiding them, because they understand that there's a lot of situations where, you know, women talk about how the guy finally, coming clean about how he feels ruined the friendship and made her uncomfortable, and messed up a good thing, all these different scenarios and feelings about them. And so if you're that male friend who hears this, well, it's going to make you think twice. Now, here's the crazy thing. Another story. I had a long time ago reached out by email. A woman reached out to me in this scenario where she said, I need help. I don't know what to do. I messed up and I think I might have missed my chance with the love of my life. I'm like, all right, what's going on? She said, well, I'm in love with my best friend. I'm like, all right, well, why is that a problem? She said, well, he just got married 2 weeks ago. And so the way that the story goes is that they were best friends for years. Of course, he eventually gets into a relationship. He ends up marrying her. 2 weeks after he's finally married, she can't hold it anymore. She tells him she's in love with him. And he ends up saying he's in love with her too. And they actually feel like they are soulmates. Now they was like, well, why didn't you say? They're both. Why didn't you say anything? And both of their reasons, well, I didn't think you felt the same way, and I didn't want to mess anything up, and boom, boom, boom. And now here they are in this messier situation. Now, of course, not every male-female friend combo out there are soulmates or are secretly in love with each other. So don't get any funny ideas. But does that happen? Yes. Does that exist? Yes. Are there situations right now where either the woman or the man has deep hidden feelings for their friend? Absolutely. And so again, it's just this unfortunate scenario because it is tough to deal with. Like, being in that situation where you're in love with your friend, you don't know how they feel about it, you don't want to mess things up, you don't want to lose them, but at the same time, there's a chance you will eventually lose them anyway, because one, how long can you actually hide the feelings, right? Or if they get, one of the things I think a lot of the people in these scenarios don't consider is the fact that when that friend gets into an actual relationship or marriage or whatever, there's a lot of times where the significant other is uncomfortable or has this iffiness about this male best friend or female best friend, whatever. And the person in between, so you got the friend who's in love, the friend in the middle, and then their actual significant other that they're married to. And the friend in the middle, because they really want to view this whole thing as a platonic relationship, they're like, yo, my significant other, you're tripping. This is my friend. It's not like that. What they don't realize is the significant other is picking up on the energy coming from this friend that they're like, nah, there's something going on. There's something more to this. This is not normal. This is not innocent, right? And that can cause a lot of conflict, a lot of issues. And again, there are some scenarios where that friend who has the hidden feelings ends up losing their friend anyway because the significant other's like, yo, I'm not feeling this anymore. Something's wrong here. Or they finally do admit it and whatever. Anyways, we're not going to go on and on with this. The point is, yes, these friendship scenarios, there are situations where the man is hiding those feelings. He's afraid to say because he doesn't want to mess it up, lose the woman. And it's just one of those things that's hard to deal with. But I just had to point out and make sure it was on this list. All right, so let's continue. And another reason why a man is, or why a man would hide his feelings for you is because he's just hoping and waiting for you to express interest first. So we kind of alluded to it. And I also want to mention, like, I'm giving a lot of explanation to that earlier phase, or like you're not even together with the person and they're hiding their feelings. I do have some points I want to make later about sometimes even when you're dating someone, how they may still be hiding deeper feelings. But we'll get to that soon. Anyways, so for this one, I just want to address the issue of him waiting for you to express interest. Because again, when you consider the fear of rejection, when you consider if there is a friendship involved, the fear of losing the friendship, um, and even just the fear of not feeling ready for you, you basically throwing the first shot allows him to feel more comfortable. Now, I am not saying that to say you should be responsible for throwing out the first shot. However, I'm also not saying that you shouldn't throw out the first shot. At the end of the day, let me tell you something. I'm always going to take the approach of whoever I'm talking to, the man or the woman. So if there's a scenario where, let's say, man has feelings, he's hiding them. Woman, I get to speak to her, and it turns out she does have feelings too. If I'm speaking to her, I'm gonna tell her, yo, you should let him know. You should express yourself. If I'm speaking to him, I'm gonna tell him, hey, you should know. You should express. You should let him know. You should express yourself. Like, I'm always going to want to encourage whoever I'm speaking to to take the initiative in order to gain clarity in the situation. Because the way that I view it, it's not about who goes first. It's about we gotta resolve this. Like what? So going back to that story previously of the two best friends who didn't neither of them said anything until after he gets married, because it was never resolved. Now the mess is even bigger, right? And Lord only knows what happens after that. So it's really about, okay, listen, we got to forget about the pride and, well, this person should be doing this. He's the man. But at the end of the day, there makes no sense for you to be dwelling in this confusion and wondering if anything's going to happen. Now, the exception to that is you've prayed about it and God has led you to not speak on it. Then, hey, cool. Then I'm for it. Don't say nothing. Leave it alone. Okay. Outside of that, and let me just be clear, when I say getting that guidance from God, I mean receiving that answer in your spirit, not coming to certain conclusions based off your own analyzation. I know that probably needs some further explanation, but we'll have to say that for a different video. But outside of that, outside of spiritual guidance, it's about getting to resolution, okay? But flipping it back to the man waiting for you to say something first. Again, it's kind of the same principle as why men aren't approaching nowadays, right? Men have become more cautious. There's been more, you hear women talk about how it's so creepy for these men to be approaching them and all these things. You got people being put on blast or on a TikTok video because they approached a woman. Nobody wants to be in that position. So for a lot of men, not all, but for a lot of them, it's like, all right, if she has interest, she needs to let me know so that I have the permission essentially to now move this or attempt to move this thing further without there being any conflict or issue. All right. So that's another factor leading to a man hiding his feelings for you. Before I get to the next point, it really hit my spirit and I was going to try to ignore it, but I couldn't. So let me just say it. Because whether it be the friend scenario, whether it be, he's waiting for you to show interest first. I talked about, well, if you do have interest, you should say something. But let's explore the fact that you don't have interest. You really just want him as a friend or an acquaintance or whatever. But you can tell he has feelings. And I think for many of you, as much as you don't want to, and as much as it sucks, you still need to address it and put it to rest. It's not good for you or either for him for there to be this unresolved tension because you can sense he has feelings for you that you do not have for him. And there's a lot of people who, again, allowed unnecessary nonsense to come into their life because they didn't want to nip it in the bud. They just like, all right, well, since she doesn't have feelings, she just figures she's not going to say anything. Just leave it alone. But then it's clear this man is just hanging on to hope. And again, it's just not good for anybody. So for anybody going through it, I know it's tough. I know it's hard. Pray about it. But I do think it's best to just put that to rest once and for all as well. All right. So got a couple more to go, or a few more to go. Either way, another reason why a man is hiding his feelings for you is because you're seeing someone else or you're in a relationship. So I've seen plenty of scenarios. I've come across many men who had deep feelings for, again, a lot of times it does happen with this friendship scenario. But what's holding him back from speaking on it is because she's already in a relationship, already dating somebody. And it can be extremely frustrating when the person that she's dating, that guy who has feelings for her, feels like that's not the right man for her. He doesn't even treat her well. There's always this toxic energy. And man, it's hitting my spirit again, so I gotta speak on it. So what happens sometimes is that you'll have a woman who, she has this male best friend and she loves her male best friend. I'm not saying romantically, but at the very least, truly loves him as a person, as a friend, values him in her life. And there's qualities about him that she wishes her man had, right? But she has this man that she's with who's lacking in these areas, who is really not all that she needs him to be, but she's able to tolerate and be with him because she gets what she needs from her male friend. Okay? And for the male friend in that scenario, that can be very frustrating because he sees what this man lacks. He sees he's not good enough for her, all these different things. But his presence actually allows for the boyfriend, or hate to say it, husband's existence to continue in her life. So essentially, if the male friend was gone, she probably wouldn't last much longer with the significant other. All right. Because now the lack would be further exposed and she wouldn't be getting it from anywhere else. And that would make the whole thing fall apart. But either way, the fact that she's seeing someone, of course, out of respect for that situation, he doesn't speak on it. And this is one of the big reasons why I really want women to understand you got to be careful of allowing yourself to essentially be taken off the market by men who are not truly worth it or best for you. Because in some of the, again, this is not everyone's story, but essentially by dating this man who is below standard, below what he needs to be for you, you now make other men who are either in your life or come across you think you are not available. And the love of your life may be looking at the scenario and be like, all right, well, I can't do nothing about it. She's still in this relationship. So essentially, this wrong man is blocking or contributing to blocking the blessing of receiving the right one. And that's why it's important, like, yo, if they're wrong for you, get them out the way. And I know it can be easier said than done. There's various reasons why people allow a man to linger or struggle to break free from certain unhealthy attachments. So we're never judging. We're never speaking down on anyone. I always want to speak with love and encouragement. But I got to also speak with truth and say, listen, you got to find a way to detach from those things, let it go. And make sure people understand, or make sure the pathway is clear for you to receive the man who is best for you. All right. And I have to also mention this. Sometimes it's not even a relationship that you're already in. It could be your lifestyle. And what I mean by that is, I know I got so many stories attached to this video, but I speak to so many people. I've spoken to so many people throughout my life. I have so many stories for days. And so I remember once where there was a woman who, she was single and she was having the hardest time finding a guy. And I told her, I was like, well, I'm your friend, and I was her friend, not hiding feelings friend, okay? I'm a friend. I'm like, I get the impression that you didn't want a relationship, that you enjoyed singleness too much to let it go. And she was like, no, I'm going to have fun and do what I can while in this season. But I want a relationship. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna tell you right now, what you give off to people is that you want to stay there, that you're not really open for something real. And you got to be mindful of now shifting that. I always say you can have, you don't have to be happy that you're single. You have to learn how to be happy while you're single. So there's nothing wrong with enjoying yourself, living your life to the fullest. You should do that regardless of your relationship status. But there's a different energy and vibe that comes across sometimes when you are essentially married to your singleness versus open for true relationship. So yes, you seeing someone else, giving off that vibe that you're not really open for a relationship. These things can cause a man to continue or contribute to a man. I'm not gonna just put it all on you. Contribute to a man hiding his feelings for you. All right. So another reason why a man would hide his feelings for you. I'm gonna kind of combine the. Well, no, I'm just gonna give this one. I'll give the next one, and then we'll be done. So the other reason is because he's not fully aware of his feelings for you. All right, that might sound confusing. Let me quickly explain. There's a lot of men who let's just put it like this. Let's say man comes, he knows you, comes across you, whether y'all work together, friends, whatever the case may be. He's developing these feelings. However, let's say he's used to being a player, right? And he's used to just having fun. And now he's finding himself thinking about you all the time. He's finding himself drawn to you. And for him, because he has conditioned himself to thinking, I'll never be in love, there is no woman out there for me like that, whatever the case may be, what he's feeling about you is like, what the hell's going on here? And he's trying to process and understand it, and he hasn't fully accepted it for what it is. Okay. And because of that, he may now behave in what comes across as mixed signals. It's like 1 minute he's acting a certain kind of way, like he has feelings, but the next minute he's acting like he doesn't care. And it's like, what's going on? Is he playing some kind of game? Now, of course, there are men out there playing games. However, there are scenarios where, no, he's not playing games. He's literally conflicted. He doesn't understand what's going on with himself and hasn't fully accepted it for what it is. And so now what you're seeing with these quote unquote mixed signals is him reacting to things in the moment, but he hasn't put it all together. Okay. And that's why he's also not fully expressing anything, because he's not even sure what's going on and what does he want to do with this. All right. So that lack of awareness also comes from a lack of emotional development. You have a lot of men who have never sat with their feelings, have never gotten to know themselves enough to understand what it means when they're reacting a certain kind of way to somebody, what it means when they find themselves focused on this woman. They don't know. It's like, okay, am I just infatuated with her because I'm so attracted to her, or do I really like this woman? Like, what's really going on here? And many have not received proper and healthy guidance. So it can lead to a lot of conflict, confusion, sometimes chaos, unfortunately, and things being hidden and not fully expressed. And let me just make clear, like, just because he's conflicted, just because he's scared, just because whatever, I'm in no way saying that you as a woman have to deal with it. Now, what I do want you to understand is I don't want you to take things personally, as far as like this is some kind of negative reflection on you if he's struggling to open up. I don't want you to take this as some kind of discouraging thing when it comes to love and men. No, I just want you to understand it for what it is, right? And let, again, I have to always remind you, let God guide you on if you need to be present through the process with this man, present in his life, okay? Or do you need to separate fully and let him just figure it out, what he needs to figure out? But aside from that, yes, that lack of awareness is another reason why a man is hiding his feelings. All right, and we're gonna make this last one super quick, but another reason why a man is hiding his deep feelings for you is because of past trauma. So we just talked about lack of awareness for feelings. And one of the contributing factors to that is past trauma and unresolved hurt that has not been released that could be acting as blockage to him understanding and accepting his feelings for what they are. It can lead to heightened levels of fear and that fear of rejection. It can lead to him mishandling and going about the situation all wrong and a slew of other things. But again, it all boils down to past trauma. Now, you as a woman, there's nothing you can do about a man's trauma. You can encourage that man to heal, but it's his choice and he has to make that decision for himself. However, though this video is about the man and him hiding his feelings and all his issues, take this as a reminder that you need to make sure you resolve your past traumas, that you heal from your past, that you clear away any blockages that might get in the way of you being able to come together with the right man. Because let me tell you something, not resolving your traumas won't stop you from getting with the wrong man. If anything, it will help you get with the wrong man. But it will definitely, in most cases, get in the way, if not all, get in the way of you being able to come together with the right one. So do the work, go through the healing process, check out my book, Love After Heartbreak. It lays out all the steps, but make sure you heal as well. But yes, his lack of healing could be another huge reason why he hides his feelings for you. Thank you for watching this video. I pray it was helpful to you. Be sure to watch this one over here on how to communicate with a man, 7 amazing tips. And so you could do something like what I call the relationship checkup, where maybe, all right, we agree every 30 days or every week or every 2 weeks, whatever your time frame is,